Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both the March 6th and the March 20th City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today.
Happy to be here.
Our first official show of spring.
There it is. There it is. We're ready for it too.
Yeah, this weather has been something. This winter, this seems going to be like the winter that doesn't go away.
It started early and it's staying late, and yeah, I think everybody's ready for a nice summer.
Yes, warm up so we can get out there in those parks and to those summer meetings where we enjoy sweating, right?
There you go.
All right.
At least we enjoy being out there anyway.
Yes,
yeah.
Compared to January.
Yeah.
All right, we'll dive right into things here by talking about our March 20th council meeting. One of the first items we want to talk about there is a proclamation declaring Youth First Community of Promise Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, which is coming up shortly.
Yes, well, very shortly.
Literally,
yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, by the time most people see this, it'll be already behind us.
Yeah, well, tell us about it.
So in 1995, there was a Northwest Anoka County Community Consortium, and it was started with Andover, Anoka, Ramsey, Anoka County, and the Anoka Hennepin School District, and it was to Youth First Community of Promise. So now that's been rolling for a while. Coon Rapids has done their own thing with the Teen Center, but as of last year, we closed the Teen Center, and in order to support our youth and do something good for them, we joined up with this consortium. And so Youth First took over that. They started last summer busing the kids out of the middle school, and now we're doing local programming, and this is a fundraiser for that, and we're now part of that consortium. So we read the proclamation, and we're supporting the fundraiser.
All right, and this was the change when they closed the Teen Center to join this group?
Correct.
Essentially?
Yeah, right. So we had contracted with the school district to run the Teen Center, and then the city was staffing it, and it just, we weren't programmed for it. We weren't supporting the youth the way we felt we should support them. Yeah. And Youth First has this great operation that's that everybody is, the other communities have really liked participating in, so we joined up with them.
All right. Under the consent agenda, Council accepted the 2017 Community Development Annual Report. Lots going on around town.
There's a lot going on, and I would encourage everyone to go to the city's website and click on that link and look at the report. It talks about all the things going on around town. You'll see this graph of the building permits. The amount of construction last year in Coon Rapids was $115 million of construction. A large part of that is all of what's going on at Mercy Hospital, but it's also, there's a lot going on around town. Plus then with the storm going through in June, we ended up with a lot of our housing stock getting refreshed. Yeah. So that was a lot of permits and a lot of inspections. There's just some great things going on, and I would encourage people to look through there and see what really is going on around town.
All right. We were just talking about that the other day, wondering if folks had all their repairs done from that June storm or if there's still stuff going on. I imagine some are still catching up.
I think there's a lot of us, like me, that didn't want to participate last summer when it was just crazy for construction, and we're waiting, and this year we'll have our work done in our house because we get the hail damage on the roof and gutters and things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Some people that may have waited and will have stuff done this year. Yeah. So it could be another busy summer.
The other highlight from that community development report I wanted to mention was it talks about the Home for Generations 2 program in there, which has been a great success. And it started in 2013, but in 2017 alone, there were, the Mortgage Assistance Foundation, from a $44,000 investment, it generated $1.6 million in construction on 24 different homes around town. I think it was 24. And from 2013 through 2017, through a small investment from the Mortgage Assistance Foundation, it's generated $6.4 million in upgrades to our housing stock. That's a big deal. Yeah. That's a really nice thing to really do a refresh on these homes, particularly when it has allowed people to stay in the community. They like their neighborhood, they like their neighbors, they like their home, but they need to make some changes to make it adaptable for them for the future. So for them to invest in their home and stay in the community, stay in the neighborhood, it's a real big win for us.
Yeah, And annually, I know coming up in May again, they'll be doing the housing tour, which showcases some of those home improvement projects that have been done in the city.
Which is really cool. When you've got, we bring hundreds of people through their homes for these tours, and they know it. They, we're very upfront with them going in. It's going to be a lot of people through all day.
Yeah.
But they're so happy with the program. They're happy with Coon Rapids. They're proud of the work that was done on their home, and they're willing to share it with the community. It's great. It's great. I really encourage people to get out and do that tour. It's fun.
Because it gives you ideas for your own home, and then people decide to do their own projects.
Yep. Even if you're going to do something not nearly as I don't want to use the word aggressive, but as
Extensive.
encompassing, extensive, sure, as what they've done, you're going to pick out decorating ideas. You're going to pick out, oh, boy, we could do this with our kitchen or this with our closet. That's great.
All right. And if anybody wants any more information, you can always get all the info on the different housing programs available on the city's website, which is coonrapidsmn.gov. Under the departments tab, you can click on housing, and it'll tell you all about Home for Generations or a number of the other programs that are available.
Right. Yeah.
And some of those are not income. I mean, it's not based on income on some of those programs.
Well, right. The Home for Generations 2 program isn't tied to income at all.
Yeah.
The home has to be at least 20 years old. The project has to be more than $35,000. It has to feature some architectural improvement, like a covered entry or something.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy to qualify, and it allows you a lot of benefit to participate.
All right. Council affirmed the recommendation for appointments to the Coon Creek Watershed District Board of Managers. This is actually a recommendation that is forwarded on to the county for consideration.
Correct. Right, so there's a vacancy that's on there on the Coon Creek Watershed, and that's the body that oversees anything we've got that's near, our creeks, our river, or anything near our lowland. That's not the right word, but at any rate, there's a vacancy, and the only way the city can do a recommendation that will be considered is to provide at least 3 recommendations. So we opened it up and we asked for applications. We received 4. So we just took the slate of 4 candidates and we handed them on to the county, and now they will have to pick one of those 4 to fill that vacancy. So it will give us a Coon Rapids resident on that board then for the future.
All right. While we're on the topic of watersheds, let's talk about the joint powers agreement with the Coon Creek Watershed District. This is for the Lower Sand Creek Corridor Restoration Project.
Yep. This is dealing with a half mile of the Sand Creek between Exeon Boulevard and the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad tracks, just north of Northdale Boulevard. And there's all kinds of sediment coming out of as the banks as they slough off, as they deteriorate. Erosion. That's that word I was looking for.
Erosion.
Yeah, these words are tricky today. They're elusive. Yes. And they came up with a natural way of fixing it. And I'm not particularly impressed with what I think it's going to look like, because they're actually going to take trees and use the root balls, impale the trees into the bank over the top of other logs. That's going to create a natural barrier to stabilize the bank, and then it'll all eventually just deteriorate, and the natural vegetation and growth will hold them in place, is the theory.
Okay.
But meanwhile, this half-mile section of trail that's very visible from the trail, or this half-mile section of creek very visible from the trail, is going to look like a lot of trees fell down and were ironically placed a certain direction. But
that's what's happening.
But that's what's happening. So if you use that trail, you're going to see the construction going on. And if you're wondering why nobody's cleaning up all those trees that are laying down, they're there now.
Okay.
That'll be what's holding the shoreline.
All right. So basically, the city has to sign off on this project.
Joint powers agreement with the Coon Creek Watershed, and it's no funding from us. A little bit of minimal staff time helping, but all of the funding is coming from the state and fed or something.
Okay.
But none of ours.
All right. But this is being done this summer, it sounds like.
Correct.
All right. Council approved a resolution accepting plans and specifications. This is for miscellaneous park and trail improvements, and you're going out for bids on this. There's 2 parks being redone this summer we'll talk about on our next meeting, but
sure.
This is the other projects that are going on this summer.
Right. So this was very specific to 3 parks, and it was Burl Oaks, Prairie Oaks, Vineyard Park, and it's all segment of trails that'll be reconstructed. And then at Vineyard Park, it's also the basketball court. The basketball court is in tough shape, so they'll be reclaiming and redoing that as well.
All right. So they're going out for bids on that, opening bids in April, and it looks like hoping to award the contract at the May 15th council meeting.
We'd like to get it all done in the summer.
And then the work will be underway, I imagine.
Sure.
All right. Council approved a resolution. This is for a stormwater drainage rate increase. Let's talk about this. This one is interesting to me.
Is it?
Yes, but I'll see if you cover why I think it's interesting.
Okay, well, I'll look forward to seeing whether we cover it or not.
All right.
So the city has a general fund budget, and then we have 4 enterprise funds. And the enterprise funds, the purpose of them is to be self-sustaining, to support themselves. And that's the water, the sewer, storm sewer, and the golf course are our 4 enterprise funds. And this one is our sewer fund. And it was slated, or it was predicted that it was going to be $350,000 short this year. There's just a lot of things going on. So, and I'm sorry, this is a stormwater drainage rate.
Yep.
And part of that fund has to cover the purchase of a $405,000 vac truck and all these things going on. So in order to offset this, rather than lose $350,000, they were raising the fees by 10% so an individual homeowner, it's going to be a rise from like $10.40 a quarter to what, $11.50 or something
45,
a quarter,
yeah.
$11.45 a quarter. So I don't think people are going to notice. I don't think residents or companies are going to notice a significant bump because it's part of a quarterly billing.
Right.
And it's 10%, and it hasn't gone up for a little while.
Right, and it's 10% of a smaller number. I thought they talked about it as running a deficit currently, even with this increase.
Even with this increase, we're
still talking about a deficit
of $175,000.
Are we just hoping that eventually goes away, or it'll just be handled with future rate increases?
Isn't that a great question?
My thought is, why not raise it right now to get back on track? Because we are talking a small dollar amount. You know, it's going up, what, $1.05 with the 10% increase for a resident.
And I think that was part of why they were helping us understand that we're buying a vac truck for that fund, and we have to have the cash for that, and it's $405,000. So I think that once we've purchased that then maybe this is going to ease back and become neutral. I wish I knew.
Stay tuned. But it's something that it sounds like it can be adjusted in the future and likely will have to be.
Right. Okay. This is where I have to confess that when you get into the minutia like that, sometimes
that's why you have the experts to handle the budgeting.
We have the experts. We've got some of those hawks on the council that really look into that, and I look into it, but you know.
All right. Well, this will be taking effect here. It looks like April 1st for District 2 for January through March. So you'll notice this change coming up on your water bills here this spring.
Sure.
All right, that is all we have from the March 20th council meeting. We want to jump back to our first meeting of the month now, which took place on March 6th. Council awarded a contract there for the 2018 park improvement projects and also approved construction administration contracts, and direct purchases. These are the 2 major parks that are being done in the city this year.
I've lost that page.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
It's there somewhere.
It's there somewhere. Yeah, so we've, and that was for Crooked Lake Park.
Yep.
And
Riverwind
Park, right. Thank you. Now I feel like I'm back on the page. I have my page.
Yes, so contracts were awarded for the work on those projects.
Right, and Crooked Lake Park is going to be an expansion of the parking area. It's going to be new pavilions. It looks like from what I could tell, it looks like we're eliminating the ball field. I don't have that map in front of me. But it should be real nice there when it's done. New playground setup. And then Riverwind Park, we had to kind of do the park north of the building because we weren't sure what we were going to do with the building when it was first designed. There's going to be pickleball courts and new playground equipment and trails and things. And the building is going to be retained now, and we're still looking towards final plans on the building.
Okay. So a total of Custom Builders was awarded the contract for about almost $1.7 million. And then there was some direct purchase of playground equipment for about $150,000. And then also a lighting project with Connexus Energy for Crooked Lake Park as well.
Right. Crooked Lake Park was a little easier because it's part of the Connexus Energy area. Yeah. So you can just say, hey, we need these lights. So Connexus Energy goes in, puts the lights in, and then we lease the lights or pay a rental or however that works out, a monthly fee. Riverwind Park, we've got to figure it out differently because although I thought everything north of the tracks was Connexus, there's a little bit of a different cutaway there, and this is not Connexus.
Okay.
It's part of Excel, and Excel doesn't have the same programs to work with.
All right. So those contracts have been awarded, and that work, I imagine, will be getting here as soon as they can this summer, and be nice to see those park projects completed as well.
That'll be, yep, very nice.
All right. Council adopted a resolution calling for a public hearing to vacate a water main easement. This does not sound very exciting, but there is a reason we're talking about this.
It wasn't very exciting, and right, and I don't think anybody showed up at the public hearing. Did we have it yet? I think we have.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we did. And so what it amounts to is Aldi is a very popular little grocery store on the north side of 10, and they want to expand. And in order to do their addition, they have to go across the what is the water main for the building. So we had to vacate that easement in order for them to build their do their expansion, and then they'll reconnect. So it's nice because it's more construction. Like I say, people obviously like that store, and they're gonna add on.
Yeah, and we're seeing lots of different things. We got that building sort of going in by Home Depot there. I know we have another restaurant coming up next to Wendy's off of Round Lake Boulevard.
Yeah, so Raising Cane is coming in next to Wendy's, where the old gas station car wash used to be. And then right by Home Depot, we've got the 3 retail buildings that are coming in there. One is apparently a coffee shop. One sounds like it's going to be a little restaurant, and then a little retail thing. And I have heard so many rumors.
I was going to say, did you hear that? I heard Tim Hortons. That was one of the rumors.
Oh,
is that
have
just
heard
a rumor? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, I mean, I've heard Tim Hortons. I've heard the retail is going to be the Home Depot rental agents. I've heard all these rumors, but I've not seen on paper what's actually coming in there. Yeah. All I know is it's 3 spaces, and it's nice to see the construction.
Yeah, and then Experience Fitness, I believe, is what it's called, is going into the old Rainbow store there.
Right. Well, most recently, the Gordmans.
I guess Gordman. I go back to Rainbow. And then we also have Sportsman's Warehouse is coming back.
Sportsman's Warehouse, which hasn't been here since, I believe, 2009.
That's about, yep.
Is taking the old Sports Authority space. Okay. They used to be over next to Best Buy, where Dick's is now. And then apparently they went through, nationally, they went through some bankruptcy reorganization and pulled out of Minnesota, and now they're back in Minnesota. And everybody I've spoken with is really happy because apparently they don't do things that are branded just for them. Sportsmen can go there and get other things, So I don't know.
It's into lots of stuff. It's interesting to see them go and come back, and not in the same spot, but kind of nearby.
Yeah, so we've really only got a couple of big spots left to get filled in. The old Michael's down by Northtown Village, because those spaces filled in with the Minnesota Outlet Store and that urban trampoline park. Yep. And then that big Sears building, which is going to be used temporarily for some big kids sale or something for a weekend. But,
yep, that's coming up here this weekend.
Oh, okay.
In fact.
So that'll already be behind us too by the time this comes out.
It will, but I hear it's a great sale. All right. Council adopted a resolution amending the drug forfeiture budget and authorizing a grant application from the U.S. Department of Justice. This is interesting because we thought we were going to get federal money for this, but there's kind of been a freeze put on that.
Correct. Yeah, it's that JAG money, and I wish I can remember what it's the Justice something Burns. Anyway. So the federal money was pulled back. We'd already authorized building this new training facility, and so we're using drug forfeiture funds to pay for it instead. But we're still getting it. It's still going to be in the police garage over by Public Works, and they're planning on having it done this spring, and hopefully that'll be part of the Public Works open house coming up in May.
Okay, and then if there is an opportunity, it sounds like they could go back possibly and maybe get reimbursed.
So if they ever release these funds, then we would be able to come back and get reimbursed for it.
All right. Otherwise, it comes just from the forfeiture fund.
Right. And it seemed like there's a little confusion because this hasn't happened where the grant has been issued and then the funds didn't show up. So they're trying to figure out, do we have to go back and undo that action, or what do we have to do? And we'll find out.
All right. That's going to bring us to the end of that council meeting. You guys also had a workshop this month. Wanted to talk a little bit about that on the Highway 610 interchange, sort of a proposal or a want here in Coon Rapids. What's the latest with that?
Yeah, so this has been a thing where back in 2011, 2012, we issued it. We had a study done to try and get a connection from Coon Rapids Boulevard or Foley or East River Road to East 610. Right now in Coon Rapids, we have great access to go west, and if you're coming in from the west, to get off from 610, but the only way of getting off or on moving west is from University. Well, the way Coon Rapids is laid out with Highway 10 cutting across, you really can't get to the rest of Coon Rapids from University. So basically, we have this great highway that's been put in, and it's cut our industrial park in half. So you've got the pain of having this highway, but without the assets of having east and west movement. So our Public Works met with the MnDOT, and MnDOT wants a new traffic study done. Part of the preferred layout included some land down by 610. So right now the council has, we haven't taken official action, but we've had a proposal, and there's a consensus to move forward in pursuing the purchase of the land. Because one of the things MnDOT wants is they want the local government to have skin in the game. You know, it's like, okay, great, you want us to do this interchange, but what are you doing to help us out? What are you doing to help move this forward? Right. So we're going to be able to go forward, hopefully, and say, we've acquired the land, we have another study done, we're having a new traffic study done now, and it's time to connect this. So who knows, this could be a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year project, but I think that it needs to go forward. You know, and now they're redoing 252, trying to get the stoplights taken out as it connects down to 94. That's going to change this section of 610 as well, the car count. Yeah. We need to move forward, and we need to be able to get our residents and our businesses and everybody to have full movement, you know, so they can go east on 610 and they can get off when they're coming west.
Okay, so there still needs to establish the need for it with the traffic study, and then probably the major hurdle is the funding, correct?
Every legislator, I've been talking to our legislators locally, and they all support this. They can see the need. If this highway was being built today, there's no way they would have built it the way they built it. So basically, before they get to call this complete, we want this connection. We want a connection made here. If you're going west on 10 and you get on 610, if that wasn't where you wanted to be, you've got to go to Brooklyn Park to turn around and come back. There's no way of getting off.
I've done that a time or two. Daydreaming, like, oh crap. You know, and it's like, yeah, you can't till you get down to 85th or Noble or one of those and turn around.
Right. And we had a restaurant that was interested in coming in right at the base of the exit onto Coon Rapids Boulevard from 610. Well, right or wrong, we didn't approve a sign, and whether they were going to come or not, I don't know. But at any rate, they didn't come in. But part of the pushback on that was when you get off, you can't get back on again.
Right.
So it kind of creates a dead zone there, and we really want to revitalize that.
All right. We'll be interested to see what happens with that. One good news we wanted to talk about, if you don't know already, the Main Street land bridge is back open, so you can actually use Main Street again.
Yes.
And several weeks earlier than planned.
Yeah, they figured it wasn't going to open until April, and they figured out a temporary patch, emphasis, temporary patch, because there's 34 panels there, and six of those have the same interface between the cap and the bench is what failed. So they're going in and they have to re-inspect all of them, and they're probably going to have to redo all of them. However, then when they are doing that construction, they will do a side at a time, and they'll move the west traffic over to the east side, so it'll be two-way, and then they'll be able to move the traffic back to the other side. So hopefully it won't be a full detour again.
That's what they're hoping.
Yeah.
But I know they're still kind of finalizing all the plans for that, and that'll likely happen this summer. Yeah.
Okay.
So more construction, right? Speaking of construction, let's talk about Hanson Boulevard, because I hear there's a sign up on Hanson Boulevard.
So they say construction starting March 26th. And so, of course, we've got the funding for the grade separation, the bridge over the tracks on Hanson. And the construction is going to be starting March 26th, moving the utilities around. If you drive down there now, you see all the trees marked out. It's going to be stark when all those trees come out of there. There's the two twin homes on the east side of the road, south of the tracks, and the two remaining single-family homes on the west side are all going to be coming out of there shortly. You can see they're all posturing, getting all the interior things out. So those will be coming out. And then there shouldn't be many actual closures this year, but there might be some delays.
Yep, and that's a lot of the utility work this year, and I think some of the frontage road stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
But then next year would be the big closure.
Right. And there's a 4-month, it can be closed from from May 1st to September 1st. It could be closed up to 4 months. They're anticipating it will be less than that. Okay. But when it is, it will be a full closure.
All right, and we're talking about that for 2019.
Correct.
So, all right, we have one final concert before we go.
Oh,
and before we go with winter,
our coffee and our coffee
dessert
series.
and coffee concert.
Dessert,
yes.
that was what I was looking for. I thought cake. That doesn't sound right.
That sounds good too.
Yeah. So yeah, Thursday, April 8th.
Yep.
And you say the Mooners?
The Mooners, yes, it's a rock group apparently. I don't know that they've been here before, but
I'm not familiar with them.
No, I don't think I've said that before this year. So, April 8th in the Civic Center. It's a Thursday night, 7 p.m. The final dessert and coffee concert of the year.
Our Arts Commission does a great job bringing in the entertainment and organizing and running these. And
yeah, and they already got their summer lineup coming out here. It'll be in the newsletter here coming up that people get. I think at the beginning of April it comes out. So
Yep, end of March, beginning of April. Yes.
Watch for that. All right, that's all I have. Unless there's anything else you want to add.
Nope. April 1st already. The registration for Night to Unite starts, and I would really encourage folks to get your neighborhood parties planned. Get out and meet your neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, we have so many great neighborhoods, so many great folks in town, and so many don't know each other, and I don't get it.
Yeah, and the police department, they've the next door neighbor or something like that has come out, this new group that people can sign up for. They just put that out yesterday, so we'll be hearing about more of that here in the coming months.
Okay.
All right. It's a good way to connect with your neighbors and find out what's going on at your very local neighborhood level.
Yeah, rather than out at the mailbox.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right. Thanks for being here to Jerry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here after our 2 meetings in April.